Hi, this is Dee at Aloha Astro. Let's take a look at the forecast for the moon transiting Aquarius on Thursday, October 2nd. Brings unusual people, ideas, or messages from the universe to guide you toward a decision or action, as the moon moving away from a conjunction with Pluto in Aquarius forms a grand trine aspect pattern in the air element with the Sun in Libra and Uranus in Gemini, which directs that energy of imagination, communication, and relationship toward the conjunction of Neptune retrograde in Aries and Saturn retrograde in Pisces at the peak of a kite aspect pattern. A square aspect between the moon and Mars in Scorpio will activate your instincts and intuition, but could deepen any existing suspicion or distrust between you and another person or larger groups or larger group or organization. So do tread cautiously, observing and listening carefully before engaging. Are you just super sensitive and blowing things out of proportion, or is something truly not right and you should be on guard? Ask the universe or your guides, ancestors, or angels for a sign you will understand. I chose today's picture of 3 crows because that is one of the signs I can rely on to indicate that something or someone is important and meant to be part of my life. When 3 crows appear in answer to a question I have, my body reacts with a sudden jolt of energy and my hair stands on end. Mars is a planet of action and physicality in a perceptive water sign interacting with the sensitive moon in an air sign of sudden knowing. So the truth is likely to be felt suddenly in your body and emotions. But if you give yourself too much time to think about it or discuss it with others, Mercury in Libra in a grand cross with Jupiter in Cancer, Chiron retrograde in Aries, and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius will cause you to second guess the awareness you experienced, or makes you more likely to be swayed by the influence and input of others. Yesterday's message of turning within to find your truth turns outward today if you open your mind and heart to other realms, like nature or the spiritual realm, where messengers or guides with no agenda other than your protection and enlightenment can be accessed. So here we can see that the moon's moved on a bit away from Pluto, where it was yesterday, and now we're still picking up a little bit of that Scorpio-Pluto vibe, especially since the moon is still squaring Mars in Scorpio. And that is where that defensiveness, where the distrust may come in, as well as your instincts being very, very sharp. Mercury's having a bit of a time this week, everybody. So watch your communication. Consider that your thoughts after you're done with this grand cross, and it'll probably be a few more days before it falls apart. Thankfully, Mercury moves relatively quickly, and in about a week, this should deconstruct. We would still be left with Chiron and Jupiter squaring each other and squaring Pluto as well. So we'll have that T-square still standing, but Mercury will have moved on. Now, will the Sun pick up where Mercury leaves off? Eventually, yes, but it won't be affecting communication or transportation to the same level that it is right now. For some people, this grand cross is actually creating a turning point. There may be an element of crisis involved in that decision-making process where pressure is being brought to bear and there's nothing you can do about things, even if your decision seems the lesser of 2 evils or the growth seems big and scary. Please remember that you do have a grand trine and a kite, as well as a freestanding trine aspect with Jupiter that is basically saying, don't stay stuck. Don't go and create more of an issue by staying in something that is not making you happy. whether it's where you're living or your job or relationship or whatever it is that is uncomfortable. And if you've outgrown it, then grow beyond it. But while Mercury is in an opposition and 2 squares and not receiving a lot of support from any other planets, it's kind of difficult to separate yourself from the viewpoints of other people. And you may even be using other people and their opinions, words, input as a guideline, when actually that might not be your best guide for you. If they truly are wanting to support you and they are free of their own agenda in it, then you're probably fine. But if you sense that they want you to be doing particular things because if you do something different than that, and it's not what they want you to be doing, they would be unhappy, or their life would change radically and they don't like that, or they would lose you or something like that, then they don't necessarily have your best interests at heart. Nature is more likely to give you clear answers today, as is the spiritual realm, accessing the spiritual realm. And don't be afraid to open up to the universe and ask those questions while the moon is making this minor grand trine at the top of the grand trine to form a kite with Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Pisces. And we've got Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, bringing in some of that spiritual energy through the element of fire, as well as the Aries I am awareness and consciousness, conjunct Saturn. So even though you're out in other realms, Saturn is very realistic, very real, very practical, and purposeful. So you can trust what you are receiving when you open up and you ask from a higher place, or when you remove yourself from the people who may have other agendas or the organizations that want to influence you. Be very careful with the news you're listening to right now as well. It may be affecting how you think and feel on a daily basis and could be generating a lot of fear. And there's a pretty good chance that a lot of it is not necessarily true, but it's being designed specifically to keep you in that agitated state and to keep you on alert and keep you in fear. So limit your exposure to the news and social media right now, especially while that Grand Cross is actually amplifying empathy as well. But if you're tuning into somebody who's incredibly agitated or distressed, let's say on the news, what good is that for you or for them? It's not. If you're utilizing that Grand Cross to actually help or heal another person, and you are strong enough to contribute your energy in that endeavor, then that will in turn strengthen you, even though you are giving some of your own energy. Discernment is very important, and we do have Venus right now in Virgo, which is the sign of discernment. That sesqui square that Venus is making to Pluto can also help you determine, well, what's best, or what really needs fixing, what is the most pressing problem. And instinctively, you will be able to know which comes first. What is the order of operations? What do you have to attend to first? Listen to that instinct, to that intuition, and it will steer you in the right direction. All right, that's it for today. And especially while Mercury is Um, Basically, under a bunch of duress, you be careful while you're out there driving in the world. Um, Keep tabs on your tickets and your luggage if you're flying. Pay attention to your surroundings. Don't let other people distract you, and you should be fine.